This is a special video episode of a Stern View podcast. I've taken this week's episode, where me and Neil talk about Rodham, and given you some ambient visuals that correspond with what we're talking about on this amazing island. If you enjoy the podcast or are interested in a cruising guide in podcast form, please subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. You can find that on iTunes or anywhere you get your podcasts. Hello, this is James. I'm here with Neil, and we're sitting on board his sailing yacht Arcturus, a 1966 Allied Seabreeze, 36 feet long. We are in Rodham, in the Åland Islands, tied up to a dock and a mooring ball. And we're surrounded by a windswept island of rocks and low shrubs. And you're listening to a Stern View podcast. We left Maryheim at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It was overcast, but good wind. We got out in the channel, got our jib up, and we're able to sail by jib alone all the way to Rodham. Neil had said that was pretty common in this area, to sail by jib alone, and it really worked out for us, right?
Yes, it certainly did. The first sort of 3-4 miles of the passage were the wind was either right behind us or on our quarter, so that was ideal. But as the wind started to come round onto the beam, I just thought, well, let's see what we can do just with the Genoa alone, and let's see how far we can carry it. And it didn't matter how far forward the wind came, the Genoa just worked out perfectly. I mean, there isn't any swell here because it's so protected with so many barrier islands, so that makes it a lot easier than it would be elsewhere. But I was very pleasantly surprised at how well the boat stayed balanced all the way. And I mean, at one point I think we were almost closed hauled just under jib alone, which doesn't make any sense to me. But we made it. It was fine. We never really needed to put the main up, and we were averaging somewhere from between 4 and about 5.5 knots. And the sun came out. We had the wind on our faces. It was absolutely gorgeous. It was a gorgeous passage. Short, because it was only 6.5 nautical miles. So it was over in about 2 hours. And I think both of us were a little disappointed in a way when we got there so quickly.
Yeah, I was so shocked when you were like, oh, we're here. I couldn't believe it. And we just had to round this little corner. And we just turned the motor on for like 4 minutes to get up to the dock. And Neil pointed us into the wind on that side of the dock, so that made for a real comfortable night. And here in the archipelago, in this whole region, you have a reel that has webbing on it, that you have a large stainless clip on. Some people have longer poles with clips. That one person has that in their hand, and as you approach this mooring buoy, you clip onto it, and then it pays out as you inch towards the dock, and then your bow person steps off onto the dock or the rock or whatever, however you're tying your bow up, and you tie it up and you stay in line. Yeah, we got in, tied up, went exploring, and the place was
charming, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was
it's
completely
just out of
charming.
This world, like these little red buildings. There was a cafe with books and fresh pastries. And we ordered some bread that was delivered the next morning to the boat. Neil booked a sauna. We went over and checked out the sauna. Beautiful building, all wooden side. It had like well, you want to describe it since you, and tell us about your experience too.
Yeah, so the sauna itself is just this little building overlooking, on a little jetty, overlooking the water. And there's a little ante-room where you get changed, and you go into the sauna room itself, and there's a pot-bellied stove that you feed with wood, and that in turn heats up the coals on the top of the unit. And then above that there's a little boiler to make hot water from the heat from the coals. And then there's another room at the back where the rainwater is fed into, because it's all the cold water, the fresh water that you have is powered by rainwater. So if you get too hot, you have two options. You can either go outside and jump into the water, which I did very tenderly because the water was cold, or maybe I haven't been here long enough, I'm not tough enough. Or you go into the little ante room and you use the rainwater mixed with the hot water from the boiler on top of the stove, and you can clean yourself and just ease the heat a little bit. But I booked for an hour. It was €25, so it was more expensive than the mooring, but that's fine. I have no problem with that whatsoever, because it's just so nice to have an authentic experience. You get the impression that they've been having saunas this way for the last couple of 100 years. And it was an hour, so I took in some vodka because I was on my own. I toasted myself, and then I did once I got warm, I did some hot yoga poses in front of the sauna and it was bliss. As James will tell you, I came out of that sauna completely blissed out, and my mood really didn't change for 5 or 6 hours.
Yeah, he was kind of in a coma the rest of the day, which is good. It's good to kind of take yourself down to that. There's also this amazing sort of outbuilding next to it there was so much chopped wood in that thing. I've never seen wood stacked so high and tight. But so it's nice. It's a small price to pay for everything to just be right there, and you had it all to yourself.
Yeah, and if you're on a boat with 3 people, they can share. It's still only €25, so it's not outrageous. But it's an authentic experience, and it's really probably very welcome after a cold day on the water, and it's very convivial, and it's just an integral part of the Finnish culture, and it was really nice to be able to partake in that.
And there are these nice wooden docks that kind of, sit above the water that you can walk from the boat to the structures. And along the way, there's like these nice little picnic benches and like a barbecue pit, so you can cook your food right there on the shore, which seems pretty common in Scandinavia sailing sort of mooring places, so people can utilize the shore space as much as they utilize their boat space.
Right.
And
there was a garbage place, and on the top of the hill there was 4 or 6 vault toilets, which were nice and clean.
Yeah, they were like composting, so they were really clean. They were like cleaner than the bathroom at my house, maybe. Yeah, it was beautiful. There's like a little museum, which I'm not sure if you went in. I didn't go in. I walked up there and checked out the other side of the island, but and I hiked all over the island, explored, did some drone shots that kind of showed you how insane the whole area is, as far as like how many islands there are surrounding you, and this small bit of land that you're on. Interesting thing about Rodham is they have no electricity. It's very sort of minimal. It's a place where this family runs it during the summer months, and it was out of this world, man. It was really lovely. Then we met Marcus, who works there. He's a musician that lives in Stockholm normally, but he sailed out. Him and his friend Christian, who is an opera singer that lives in Mariehamn. They were both there, and so we chatted with them for a while, and then Christian came back to Arcturus with us and showed us some secret spots on the map, or on the chart rather, to check out, like local knowledge stuff. So yeah, it was pretty incredible experience being there.
It really couldn't have been any better. The harbour, I would think, if it's ever busy, would probably hold about 40 boats, but I think there probably weren't more than about 10 or 12 or 15. Some folks coming in late. We were up there at the top of the island enjoying the long Finnish twilight and the golden hour, which just seems to, here it should be called golden hours, shouldn't it? Because it just seems to last forever. But we saw a regular stream of boats coming in, some big, some small. I mean, Hallberg Rassies, Beneteaus, Janos, and then little local boats that were maybe 18, 20 foot, certainly no more than that, with families on. But, as I said, there were probably 15, 20 boats there, and there's probably room for 50, but I doubt if they ever get 50, because this is prime time for them, and it certainly wasn't full.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, it's just so peaceful, so nice to look at nature, to meet people, and to see the boats is kind of interesting too, because there were a couple of interesting boats moored either side of us. There was one Hallberg Rassie, but then there were a couple of other boats that had what looked like retired couples on board, and they were more sort of motor cruisers, weren't they? I mean,
yeah, they were cool. It looked like a motorboat, but it had a sail. They had
Right.
sails, and they had cool dining rooms, and
Right.
it just really looked like a comfortable thing for similar to like a little RV on the water, but
Right.
but in a really sort of quaint, charming sort of way.
Right. Probably perfect for the archipelago. You wouldn't
Yeah.
want to cross an ocean in them, but perfect for the environment they're in, and that's kind of nice too. As boat people, it's always nice to see sort of little regional quirks of boat design and building, I think.
Yeah, really amazing. I stayed up till like midnight to watch the sunset. I went up on top of the island at the highest point, set up there, and there was an incredible sunset rainbow in the distance, and yeah, it's just otherworldly. It's really the only way I can describe it. That's Rodham. If you're ever sailing in the Åland Islands, make sure you stop by, because it's definitely worth a visit. Something I won't forget.
Its
for sure.
proximity to Mariehamn is great too, because Mariehamn, there's so much to see there. So if you're pressed for time, you can come into Mariehamn the night before. You can get your laundry done. You can get your shopping done. You can buy any extra bits and pieces. Like me, I had to buy a beanie to keep my old head warm. And you can leave Mariehamn at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you've still got a destination to go to, but you'll be tucked in safely by 7 in Rodham. So it's not as though if you don't leave early, you've wasted the day and you have to wait till the next day. And that's really another of the wonderful things about this area is there are some long passages you can do, or some little short hops, and each one I think offers something new and exciting. Certainly it has done for us.
And it's so nice that the sun doesn't go down till midnight, because you're not ever stressed about getting to your anchorage.
Right.
Like it's really hard to even think that you would come in. You can't really come in anywhere complete darkness here during the summer months. So that's been kind of nice for us. We can just do our stuff and work on stuff until about noon or 1, head out, and then there you go. So all right, that wraps up Rodham. Again, there's a video episode that corresponds with this if you're a visual person and you want to see the incredible footage we got and photos and stuff from Rodham. Please check it out on svtritea.com or on search Sailor James on YouTube and you'll find it. So until next time, fair winds.